Welcome to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Jackie Hermans. How about this weather? This weather is phenomenal. I'm so grateful for this weather, and it seemed perfect to be out here at Whitby Harbour, beautiful Lake Ontario, and with all the boats out there having fun, we thought it would be important to do this show on boating safety. So we're going to be meeting with Ken Boone of the Durham Regional Marine Department, and we're going to be talking about boat safety. We're going to talk about things that you need to have on your boat, things you need to watch out for so you're not going to get a ticket. And we are officially now in stage 1 of COVID opening. So how beautiful is that? So now you have an opportunity to go out into patios. Stores will be reopening with limited capacity. Make sure you get your vaccine. If you have not gotten your vaccine yet, just go on to Durham Health, I think it's /COVID vaccines. We'll make sure we have that at the bottom of the screen for you. So you want to keep on watching because we're going to teach you all about boat safety and keep you safe all summer long out on the water. All that and more on Uxbridge Scugog Life. Keep on watching.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
When an impaired driver killed my brother DJ, some people used the A word. They called it an accident, but it wasn't. An accident implies that no one was at fault. But when someone impaired by alcohol and/or drugs chooses to drive, they are fully responsible for the crash that can result. So please, for the memory of my brother DJ and the thousands of families whose lives have been shattered by impaired drivers, let's drop the A word.
A crash caused by impaired driving is not an accident.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So this is pretty exciting. I am here on a police boat, and I'm here with Ken Boone, who's part of, what is your division officially called?
We are it's the Durham Regional Police Marine Unit.
Marine, okay. How long have you been involved with the Marine Unit?
I'm in my 5th year now. I'm in 23rd year of policing, 5 years on the Marine Unit.
Okay, do you have to work up in seniority to be able to get onto the Marine Unit?
Well, it's either an act of God or someone gets dumped overboard. But yeah, it's a pretty hard thing to get into.
I would think so, because if I was going to work for the police department, this is where I would want to be.
It's a pretty good place.
So what are the typical calls you would get?
We have a wide variety of things we look after. Obviously, as a police officer, I'm still responsible for enforcement, water related, of course. We do a lot of education with regards to water safety, boating safety. And we're also search and rescue. So if such things come in, someone's overdue for dinner that night, people call 911. We'll coordinate with our partners, either the Canadian Coast Guard, as well as the Joint Rescue Command Center, who kind of dispatch military assets and stuff. And between all of us and other police assets, we'll coordinate searches and hopefully locate the folks and get them home safely.
Now, what's the difference between what you do and what the Coast Guard does?
Again, the Coast Guards are federal, right? So they look after waters throughout Canada. They're in the north, west coast, east coast, as well as the inland waters, the Great Lakes and stuff like that. They're primarily responsible for like the markers you see out here for safe passage of vessels and boats. They're also search and rescue folks. They'll be the ones who are on duty all the time, do large tows, that sort of stuff. Again, our primary responsibility, being a police officer, we're focused to an area. For myself, the waters of Durham region.
Okay. Okay, great. So if I was out on a boat and the bad weather just all of a sudden came in, and let's say we're on a sailboat, we flip over, is it most likely going to be the Coast Guard, or if you guys are on duty, it's whoever can get there first?
With boating, just because there's not a lot of people out there, especially in bad weather, hopefully, it's whoever gets there first. We encourage people to call 911. We're the primary intakers of all emergencies. And if we're working, we will just be dispatched. We'll also request all our partners and assets to get out there as well. If we're not working, our dispatchers and our communications and stuff like that, they will call the Coast Guard. They will call the Joint Rescue Command Centers and have them attend as well.
Okay. What's your favorite part of this job?
Favorite part of this job? My partner will probably say working with him. You know what? It's interesting. I grew up on the East Coast. I'm a Newfie myself, so being on the water is something I grew up doing. It's nice to get back into it. I waited almost 20 years in policing to get into it, so yeah, to be back is kind of unique and kind of special.
Tell me where you're at, I'll come where you're to.
That's right.
That's my newfie. That's all I got. Well, congratulations for getting on the Marine unit. I think that's pretty special. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to go out there. Maybe we'll meet up with a few boats. I see that there was a boat out there that was having problems. Is it gone?
Yeah, there was a sailboat. He looked like he was having some engine trouble. A few boaters did go out and see if he needed assistance, but looks like he might have probably got things running and got himself in out of it.
Do you ever tow those boats in yourself?
We're not normally a tow service, but obviously if we're out there to help people, we're out there to help people. We're not going to leave someone stranded.
Okay, gotcha. So how many tickets would you give away, let's say, per week? Giveaway, it sounds like it's a party. Sounds like you just won something.
Yeah. But it depends, right? You know, a week like today or today like today, you're going to have a lot more people out there pleasure boating. And because of COVID and everything that's gone on, people are forgetting everything they need. There are rules to boating. There are rules to what you have to do. And there is safety gear you're responsible for. So we will, we'll judge ourselves accordingly and issue offenses, tickets, whatnot, if people are obviously not paying attention to those rules.
If you think that they might have been drinking, do you get them to do the blow test?
Absolutely. So a couple of us on the Marine unit are also, we're also breath techs and that sort of stuff. As a police officer, drinking on a boat is an offense. There are only certain exceptions to be allowed to drink on a boat. One, you have to be anchored or affixed to a dock or something like that. You have to have full washroom, kitchen, and sleeping quarters, and they have to be a permanent part of the boat. So they have to be made on the boat when it was manufactured. A porta potty, a bucket, and a barbecue does not count.
Okay.
So yeah, you can't be operating a boat or driving one and partying. We carry an approved screening device, a little box, mind you, whatever. And so if we find someone who is, or we have some special reason or reasonable probable ground to believe that an individual has been drinking, we will make a demand, and it's a lawful demand. And if we find that they have some alcohol in their breath or alcohol in the boat, it is an offense, and they'll be dealt with accordingly, either through provincial offenses or through the criminal code, and get arrested.
Okay, so thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to go out on the boat with you.
Absolutely.
Let's see what we find.
All right.
My name is Matthew Rutledge. I'm a 60 scoop survivor, born in Red Lake, was adopted from there to Toronto at the age of 4. A lot of our brothers and sisters, family members got separated from each other. That was the government's goal, to break that connection from brothers and sisters. Basically taking the Indian out of the child. Right now, they're still trying to find themselves. Originally, my birth name is Harvey Halverson. In my high school days, teens, I was trying to fit into society. I knew I was First Nations, but I didn't know who I was inside. I think later in life, I started that journey. I am proud, Anishinaabe man, who I am now. I love life, who I am.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. So I have with me Constable Ken Boone, and we are talking about water safety. So you're part of the amazing Marine unit, which I think is just so cool. I love being out here, and thank you for having me on your boat.
You're very welcome.
So in order to stay safe, what are some things that you need to have with you? Now I know it's different depending on the type of vehicle you're in, device that you're in. So, you know, how does it differ if you have a paddleboard compared to a kayak, compared to a fishing boat?
So we break everything down into two types of power. We have human-powered stuff, so that's your paddle boards, your kayaks, your canoes, and that sort of stuff, rowboats. And then we have powered vessels, like what we're on right now. And those two categories will have, depending on the type of boat it is and how it's registered, will have its own safety gear. But pretty much something that covers everything is to have a good working life jacket. Make sure it's in good repair, it's not frayed or coming apart, and it fits appropriately. And wear it, right? That's what they're meant for. Certain boats will decide to, or certain boats will, you need something that, what they call inherently buoyant, where these things are inflatable. These things are great, they're comfortable. However, they only count if you're actually wearing them.
Right.
Some of the other things we make sure we ask people to have, even though we're in a beautiful day, have a working flashlight. Flashlight is really important because if you're in the water, you can see that from a long way away.
Okay.
Make sure it's watertight. A whistle, in case you're in the water and you're trying to signal someone for help, or a throw line. If you happen to come across someone in the water, you can, without getting too close to them and harming them, you can throw them a rope or a line or something and help them in. Those are the basic things that pretty much every boater should have, whether you're standing up on something or you're sitting down and riding in something. Again, each classification of vessel is going to require their own stuff, but there are lots of resources out there, including ourselves, that you can call up and ask for help.
Okay, now I'm a paddle boarder, and so, or paddle boarder, I think I said boater, didn't I? So if I had a life jacket with me and I'm a strong swimmer, is that still okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, but I do recommend, you know, if you never know what can happen. You can fall and hit your head on a rock, right?
So lots of we notice a lot of paddle boarders like to wear or have inflatable devices with them. Either they have it on the board themselves, you can get those fanny packs, which are kind of neat. Some people are a little more comfortable. If they're not as strong as swimmers like ourselves are, they may actually wish to wear an inherently buoyant life jacket, so a full life jacket system. But yeah, as long as you have it with you, then it counts.
Okay. So what about big crafts such as this? What are things that you need to have?
So a boat like this is unique because it is a commercial boat. So we're registered commercially. So the first thing we would ask people for is to prove or give us proof of competency. And what that means is a boater's card or a boating license. So that's an online course you go through to get that little card to prove that you have some sort of knowledge of what you're supposed to be doing out here.
Okay.
Again, with power boats, depending on the size of the motor, you have to have proper bow numbers. So that's your license plate on the front of the boat and an ownership paper. And that's a 8x11 white sheet of paper that comes from Transport Canada that gives a description of your vessel and who owns it and that it's properly licensed. Once we get through all that stuff, then we start getting into safety gear. Life jackets again, a working flashlight, a whistle, a throw line, a bailing bucket, and for a boat such as this, a working fire extinguisher.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, I'm sure you've also seen a lot of tragedy working on the water. So with everything that you've seen, what are the #1 tips that you must do this? Please do this, because I don't want you to face this.
A couple of things. First of all, have a plan. Tell people where you're going and when you're going to be back. Check your weather, and don't push yourself beyond your comfort level. If you're coming out here and there's 5 and 6 foot waves and you've never been in it before, don't go. The other thing I tell people is to leave your booze and your recreational pharmaceuticals at home. Don't bring them out here. This is not the place to have it, or be under the influence of it. Not only are you risking your own safety, when you don't report home for dinner and your loved ones call us for help, then you're taking us away from our stuff and putting our lives at risk, as well as other assets that are out here helping to look for you as well. And it does happen.
Okay, so stick to the sparkling water while you're on the water, and when you get home, that's when you can go for the high octane.
That's
stuff.
right, yeah. I like that, high octane.
Nice. All right, so if we were on the water, how often would you necessarily be asking someone to maybe take a breathalyzer?
So, as a police officer, I look for certain clues of things. If I ask for your life jacket and you open up a cooler and it's full of empty beer cans, I'm probably going to be making a demand that you prove that you prove your sobriety to me. Generally, most people are pretty good, but again, we look for clues of such, right? It does happen. I have made arrests out here. I usually am good for about 2 or 3 a year.
Okay, thank you so much. We will be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Our son is one.
My father was one.
I am one.
Are you one?
Hey, do you like movies? You know I do. That's why I see all of them. And if you want to know which ones you should see too, check out the latest Cinema Scene reviews and interviews. They're hot, fresh, and delicious, and they're online at rogerstv.com/cinemascene, popcorn not included. This offer is available everywhere. Tell your friends, be the first on your block to click rogerstv.com/cinemascene. It's so nice, we have to mention it twice.
Uxbridge Scugog Life. So I'm with Constable Ken Boot of the Marine Unit, and we're talking about education when it comes to water safety. So there's all these different types of vehicles that you can get for the water, and there's different things that you should know about them. So can you give us some examples for, even if you have a ski boat, what are some things that you should know that maybe if you haven't educated yourself, you might be surprised about knowing?
Absolutely. So everybody's aware that you have to have a PCOC card, so a Pleasure Craft Operator card, which is that little 3 to 5 hour course you do online. To be honest, when you get out here, it's a vast place to be, and it's a dangerous place to be. And help can be hours away sometimes. We highly encourage people to further their education. There are all kinds of courses that you can take through colleges, as well as power associations that belong to all the yacht clubs and stuff like that. There are 2 or 3, if not 4 of them within Durham region alone. And they offer extensive training with regards to how to handle yourself, how to handle your boat properly, even coming right down to docking beside someone else without doing damage to your boat or theirs.
So you've gone through extensive education yourself.
Yes,
you've gone through weeks and weeks of training.
Yes. So in order to operate a commercial boat, especially in a policing capacity, and for the weight of the boat that we're on, we have to do special courses. One starting off with a multi-week course just to learn all the rules of the road, rules of the water. Then we have to be with someone called a master, right? We spend numerous hours, and it can take up to 3 or 4 years in order to get the license we require in order to operate this boat. Then we have to do a test, which is really hard, and you have to go through an interview in front of a captain for Transport Canada.
So there's so much that people can learn, and they should be learning depending on the craft that they get for the water.
That's right.
So what about jet skis? Do you have any issue with jet skis on the water?
Jet skis are probably one of our #1 complaints, just because they're so easy to come by. There's hundreds of them, and you can buy them anywhere. And the thing with it is because they are small and easy to transport around, people can put them in big waters or they can put them in small waters. The problem with this is what we're finding is people are buying these things and they're not even bothering getting a license, period. They don't have a voter's card. They don't register them. They don't have any safety gear on them. And they operate them in careless manners. Jet skis themselves, like you see behind us, we're traveling fairly slow right now, but we are generating what's called a wake, so the displacement of the water that's behind us. So we're responsible for what that does to other people or their property. So if you're coming out of a harbor and you're what we call up on planes, so you're skipping across the top of the water, you're committing a couple of different offenses. One by speeding. Most harbors have a speed limit. If the water you're displacing damages someone else's vessel, or you put someone at risk or harm, then you're probably going to face consequences either through the criminal code for dangerous operation, or getting some pretty expensive tickets, or civil liability when someone comes after you and sues you for damaging their gel coat on their $500,000 or $1 million boat.
Right. So on top of education, it's also going to be courtesy and common sense as well. I've been on a boat before, and I was shocked because we were out on the water and we saw a really nice couple canoeing, and they went super close and super fast to this canoe. So they had massive waves, or they had the wake they had to deal with. I felt horrible.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be happening. We need to show our courtesy on that water.
Absolutely. We got to be, we got to treat each other with respect. We also have to look after everybody out here, because sometimes people don't know if you're in trouble. And again, you're responsible for the well-being and health and safety of everybody else out here, and they're responsible for you. So to put someone at risk like that, especially if you did, if they capsized or you did some damage to the boat, or they're not strong swimmers, chances are you're probably going to get charged, and it's going to be a criminal charge.
Yeah, there's no need for that.
No.
All right, so we need to educate ourselves with whatever craft that we have, and make sure we have the right equipment. So the typical equipment that we need to have the whistle, we need to have PFDs. Oh, with PFDs, how many PFDs should you have on the boat? Should you have more than what you have of people on the boat?
So what we encourage people is you should have at least one form-fitting PFD for every person there is on board.
Okay.
If you can afford to and you have the storage, always have one extra, because if you happen to come across someone, maybe you can help them out. But the law says you have to have a PFD for every person on board. If you choose to wear this sort of PFD, certain vessels, you still may have to be required to have what we call an inherently buoyant life jacket, so a proper life jacket. These things are great, as I said earlier, because they're comfortable and everything. However, you still need to have other life, depending on the type of vessel you're operating.
Okay, because if you're going to be in the water, let's say you capsize, you're in the water for a long period of time, you need to have something with ample flotation, right?
And that's the thing too, right? So these things are great. The one that me and you are wearing, when we fall in the water, they'll blow up automatically. However, if you're in the water without a PFD and I throw this to you, it's just going to sink.
Okay, gotcha.
So if you have a proper life jacket,
get a proper life jacket. All right, thank you so much.
Rob.
It was great having Constable Ken Boone. We will be right back with more on Uxbridge Scugog Life.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week, they had something to celebrate. Jason had just finished university. So they toasted his profs, his TAs, his old roommates. Well, they toasted just about everyone. But I worry about and take care of my guys. So even when I know they're not driving, sometimes that means bringing them a little surprise. And then they had a drink to me.
Brought to you by SmartServe Ontario and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
Hi, I'm Jackie Hermans, the host of Uxbridge Scugog Life. Join us weekdays 9 a.m. to find out everything that's going on in and around your community. That is Uxbridge Scugog Life, only on Rogers TV.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
Well, that's a wrap. Uxbridge Scugog Life. It was a special thanks to Ken and Mike of the Marine Unit. It was so wonderful to give us permission to come on their boat, and they gave us a wonderful tour of Lake Ontario. It was beautiful. And if you were wondering, that fishing boat that we ran into, they had everything that they needed, and they caught a beautiful salmon. I'm guessing 10 to 15 pounds, and then they let it go, which was so nice. So to make sure you are safe on the water, it's really hard to come by these now, the Safe Boating Guide, but you can get this online. Read it. Make sure you know it. Get your boater's license. If you are going to be operating a boat, you need to get that boater's license. Make sure you have your tow rope. Make sure you have your flashlight, your whistle, a Pfd for everyone that is on that boat. So please stay safe. And if you're going to be boating at night, make sure you have your lights. Make sure you have those flares. Keep yourself safe. So if you want to be on the show, I want to hear from you. And you know what? You can contact me even through my website, thejoyfulyogini.ca. Send me a message, and we would love to have you on the show. So if you have an event, a program, a service, maybe there's just something you want to educate the community about, let me know, and we'd love to have you on the show. So thank you so much for watching Uxbridge Scugog Life. If you haven't been getting outside, get outside. Go on the trails, come by the water, hang out with family on the patio, since those patios are open now. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week. Uxbridge Scugog Life.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
I never thought I'd know that feeling. To be in love. Because for us, it was a crime. Someone had to respond to the tabloids, so I wrote letters, challenging every misconception of homosexuality. 9 homes, 7 dogs, 47 years together, and still not spouses under the law. So we took our fight to the Supreme Court.
Jim Egan and Jack Nesbitt await a verdict on their fight for spousal rights.